NASA's Artemis II mission marks a historic milestone, the first crewed flight to Earth's natural satellite in over half a century. The 4 astronauts on this groundbreaking journey will perform a lunar flyby, paving the way for future long-term human presence on the Moon, aimed at expanding scientific knowledge and enabling sustained exploration. This 10-day test flight is designed to demonstrate a broad range of capabilities for human deep space exploration. The mission's primary objective is to verify that the Orion spacecraft can sustain astronaut life in the deep space environment and to allow both the crew and ground teams to rehearse operational procedures critical for the success of subsequent missions. On launch day, the Artemis II crew dons their spacesuits, completes final checks, and boards specialized transport vehicles bound for Launch Pad 39B at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Awaiting them atop the mobile launcher stands NASA's Space Launch System, SLS, rocket, soaring 98 meters tall with the integrated Orion spacecraft. This colossal structure traveled 6.5 kilometers from the vehicle assembly building to the pad aboard a crawler transporter. The launch team fuels the SLS with over 2.6 million liters of liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen and meticulously checks navigation systems, communications, and avionics. 12 seconds before liftoff, hydrogen igniters fire to prevent buildup. Approximately 6 seconds later, the rocket's 4 RS-25 engines ignite. At T0, umbilical connections retract, clearing the way for SLS and the Orion crew to begin their journey. Weighing 2.7 million kilograms and generating 4 million kilograms of thrust, the moon-bound rocket accelerates to escape velocity. 3/4 of this immense power comes from 2 17-story solid rocket boosters, each producing 1.6 million kilograms of thrust. Roughly 2 minutes into flight, the boosters separate after exhausting their solid propellant. The core stage and its RS-25 engines continue propelling Orion and its crew into space. About 3 minutes after launch, the protective fairings surrounding Orion's service module are jettisoned, exposing its solar arrays. 6 seconds later, the launch abort system separates from Orion. The crew safely reaches low Earth orbit, still retaining the option to abort using the service module's engines. Around 8 minutes post-launch, the course stage engines shut down, and the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, ICPS, together with Orion, separates from the core. Orion and ICPS now enter unpowered flight. Orion's 4 solar arrays deploy, powering the spacecraft and charging its batteries for phases of the mission when it will be in Earth's or the Moon's shadow. After a 90-minute orbit, the ICPS upper stage engine fires to raise Orion into a high Earth orbit. The Artemis II crew and Mission Control in Houston then conduct an almost 24-hour systems check while still relatively close to Earth, allowing the astronauts to acclimate to their home for the coming days. Once in high Earth orbit, Orion separates from the upper stage. The spent ICPS and Orion stage adapter then serve as a target for a manual proximity operations demonstration, practicing rendezvous maneuvers to prepare future crews for docking and undocking with other spacecraft. During this demonstration, the Artemis II astronauts use Orion as cameras and direct visibility through its windows to pilot the spacecraft, approaching and retreating to evaluate its handling qualities, hardware, and software. Following the exercise, spacecraft data is gathered to validate systems such as life support, communications, and navigation, confirming Orion and its crew are ready for the lunar journey ahead. Approximately 23 hours after launch, Orion, as service module, executes the translunar injection (TLI) maneuver, propelling the spacecraft from Earth orbit onto a roughly 4-day trajectory toward the Moon. The crew, as figure-8 flight path ultimately takes them more than 370,000 kilometers from Earth. En route, astronauts continue evaluating spacecraft systems and practicing contingency procedures, including testing a radiation shelter. The Artemis II crew flies about 7,400 kilometers beyond the Moon, becoming the first humans in over 50 years to see its far side, an observation critical for planning future lunar missions. During this phase, communications between mission control and the spacecraft are temporarily lost. As the crew emerges from behind the Moon, Orion is pulled back toward Earth by gravity along a free return trajectory, enabling an efficient 4-day homeward journey. Just before atmospheric entry, Orion's crew module separates from the service module. 12 thrusters orient the spacecraft correctly at an altitude of about 120 kilometers above Earth. Orion and its crew plunge into Earth's atmosphere at nearly 40,000 kilometers per hour, decelerating at 4 times the force of gravity. The astronauts will feel 4 times heavier than normal. Orion's heat shield protects the capsule from temperatures reaching approximately 2,760 degrees Celsius, about half the surface temperature of the Sun. To ensure a controlled and safe descent, Orion executes a precisely choreographed sequence deploying 11 parachutes. First, 3 forward bay cover parachutes pull away the protective thermal cover above the parachute system. Next, 2 drogue parachutes deploy to slow and stabilize the crew module before being jettisoned. Then, 3 pilot parachutes extract the main parachutes, which fully inflate at an altitude of 2,740 meters, while the capsule is still traveling at 209 km/h. These powerful parachutes reduce Orion's speed to less than 32 km/h, enabling a gentle splashdown. After traveling more than 1.1 million nautical miles, Orion splashes down in the Pacific Ocean, approximately 92 kilometers off the coast of California. Just 16 minutes after atmospheric entry, a recovery team composed of U.S. Navy, Air Force, and NASA personnel immediately approaches the capsule. Team specialists first confirm it is safe for the crew to exit before Navy divers assist the astronauts onto an inflatable raft and then transfer them to helicopters for transport to the recovery ship. Orion itself is later towed aboard the vessel for return to Kennedy Space Center. Having successfully completed their mission, the crew returns to solid ground for the first time in 10 days. Thus concludes the Artemis II mission.